There's no doubt about it, Arsenal have brilliant world-class players around the squad. However, with the club record fee of £100 million being spent on Declan Rice in the summer, he is Arsenal's most important player right now and is helping them become an elite team every week. But how is he so important to this team? Well, let's have a look. Now, there's been a lot of videos and a lot of talk about Declan Rice the whole time he's been at Arsenal. There's been brilliant videos made by other people, but personally, I haven't done a video in a while, and I wanted to talk about how his role fits in this system with the different setups that Arsenal have. I think it's quite clear that he is the real glue in the team. Without him in there, I just don't think Arsenal's midfield works at all, and the only reason why Odegaard, Havertz, Trossard, Jorginho even work is because you have that solidified player, as in Declan Rice, being there the whole time. And if he was to get injured, I don't think Arsenal would be able to buy anyone in the market or get anyone in the club that will obviously be close to even representing him. This is why he's so important to Arsenal and probably the most important player. No one can recreate what he is doing and make it look so easy. Arteta's inclusion also to use him a bit more as an 8 as well in a double pivot has also been brilliant, and he's been a really good player for the team in that role, not only just being a 6. And honestly, I think this is why Arteta is thinking about bringing in a 6 like Supermendy in the future, so he can play Rice 8 and a bit more attack. Rice first joined Arsenal, I actually got a lot of criticism because I said he was a better player than Thomas Partey, and now a lot of people at the time didn't agree with me, and I didn't really understand it, and a lot of people still don't agree with me, and I still don't understand it. Now, this is no discredit to Thomas Partey because he's been a brilliant player for Arsenal and can really be good in phases, but I think Declan Rice is just a better upgrade of a player. I think he's a better leader, he's obviously never injured, and I think his pass selections are a lot better than Thomas Partey, and he's a lot quicker on the ball in possession. He's very much more aggressive, I feel like, as well, and I think it overall helps the team in midfield a lot. But I'm not taking anything away from Thomas Partey. I think he's a brilliant player, but I don't think he'd be able to do a single pivot by himself a lot. And to explain how good Declan Rice is for this team, there's so many different setups that we use. Now, for the Trossard system, Declan Rice is very good at adapting to what he needs to do. Sometimes Ben White inverts and Havertz will come deep to try and win a header, to try and win a knock on if the ball is being kicked out from the other team. Arsenal have it deeper and are struggling to get out. Of course, their Odegaard will also come back to help. In some of the games though this has happened, Declan Rice has actually been operating in a bit of a right back role. This is something we've actually seen Liverpool do with Szoboszlai, where in order to get their right back up or moving into a different position, such as we are with White, we put Rice into right back to cover that area while we got the ball. Now, because he's very good at passing and very good at finding them lanes to Saka, he's very much a very optimal player to have in this position. And as long as Arsenal have the ball, it shouldn't be really any major issues with the tackling side of it. If not, you've still got Ben White, Odegaard and Havertz in the middle. And the way Declan Rice doesn't need to be told what to do is such a perfect thing. The thing that makes Arsenal so good is just the fact they're so fluid in midfield and defence. They understand when to move and when to go. Sometimes Odegaard will need to direct play and tells people where to be, but often they just have it in their brain to be like, this player's gone to a certain situation, I need to move back into a certain position. And this is brilliant. As soon as Ben White goes into right back, Rice will come back in the middle and Havertz will go up front. It will always be in a fluid motion, and Odegaard will come back and help if they need to. In this setup, Rice is usually playing as a 6, the main role that Arsenal was signed him for, and he usually is the main defender and has to do a lot of defensive work, and he often does. I mean, he doesn't do this most defensive work and his stats aren't going to look amazing compared to some players in the league. Arsenal have the best defence in the league, and that is simply down to Rice being very good from a deeper point of view, and the fact that Arsenal also have the ball all the time. The amount of control they're having in games is unprecedented. Teams are only having around 1 to 2 shots against them and getting around a 0.1, 0.2 XG, and we've seen it for 5-6 games now in the Premier League, and that is mostly down to Rice and the defenders being able to be so good on the ball. This is the main thing about Declan Rice. He is a proper good passer in the middle, and this is why Arsenal really wanted him. He makes around 67 passes attempted in games and is getting around to 89 pass completion. Now, this doesn't seem like amazing, but it's just very actually good numbers for someone in his position. The main bit is his progressive passes. He is doing around 7 to 8 progressive passes per game, which is a really big amount, and making around 2 carries per game. This means in certain situations when he is getting pressed and there's a lot of players on him, he is being able to run past the defenders with ease and being able to pass the ball out. This is something Endo I give a lot of credit for doing in the Carabao Cup final, and this is something that Rice does every single game, and Rice is obviously a lot better than a lot of players on the ball and running past them. Now, Declan Rice isn't going to be doing some insane through balls from about 35-40 yards out like Jorginho might do, but Declan Rice will put the little passes through the half spaces for the midfield. This allows Trossard and Odegaard usually to come deeper and get the ball, where they can usually put it out wide to Martinelli or Saka, or Havertz maybe pushing through. This brilliant ability by Rice makes him very hard to actually defend against, and often when there's a few defenders in there, he honestly can take them on and do great passes through them, and it honestly cause a big issue for the other teams, and usually Arsenal have a lot of people more going forward. And Rice obviously has so many different roles. I mean, in the Newcastle game, we saw him pair up with Jorginho. Jorginho played a little bit deeper, and you saw Rice a bit more in a progressive 8/6 hybrid. He often actually pressed really high in this game because we had a lot of intensive press, and with Havertz and Odegaard starting it, we had Saka and White and Rice also help them to try and get the ball, and when the ball was shifted out to the right or left side, they'd be there. Rice often moved in this game into a left side or right side to create an overload. This allowed a lot of other players to get in the ball and be able to do good things around the box, and this also helped him create chances. He is not someone that is going to put away every chance or really create a lot because he does play a lot defensively, but when he is in this position, you definitely see the elevation by him and the ability to get in the box and run with it. There was points where Jorginho would come over and Arsenal would honestly have a 5v3, 5v4 or even a 5v5 and still get the ball away. Their quick passing they have from their midfielders such as Odegaard and Jorginho, it allows Rice to get through, and Rice has a shot straight at the goalkeeper, but it's brilliant movement nonetheless and a brilliant run to actually make that space available with the players in that right corner. And with Arsenal loving having a 5 or 6 going forward when they're on the ball, usually being a 3-2-5 or sometimes even being a 2-2-6, which you see rarely, but it's when Arsenal are really going for a goal, they like putting their fullbacks up as well. Declan Rice actually operated that position as one of the forward players, which is obviously not really going to happen when Jorginho isn't playing. Because Jorginho's sitting deeper, he can sort of monitor, scan and cover them areas. Also with the aggression of Gabriel helping him and Saliba not in far behind. And because Rice is a very aggressive, very quick player, he likes getting in these positions as well and will happily help the attacking line with brilliant passes, and often he doesn't really stay in play. I'd say he's more of a beta option, but nonetheless he's very good in them positions. And weirdly enough, the key thing that Declan Rice has been doing this year at least, which we did not expect, is the fact he is so good at set pieces. Already this season I think he has 4 or 5 assists from corners and free kicks, which I think is more than he had in career before that. Now originally when you put Declan Rice on a corner or free kick, you're thinking this is a bit of a weird option, but he does have a brilliant bend and brilliant curl delivery, and he's very powerful in his efforts, so it often goes really good to the front post. This coupled with Nicolas Jehovah's brilliant corner tactics are clearly working, and we consistently keep scoring from them, being 19 in the league now from set pieces. And I think this is a really good option because we'd always have Declan Rice just outside the box for corners, which he can definitely score a good goal, but he's not necessarily prolific and necessarily really what you want him doing. He's not brilliant in the air, so he's not great going to be in their boxes, and it's really good to see him actually finding a role from these corners, being able to do these brilliant deliveries, and they deserve a lot of credit to also finding Declan Rice in our Dubai camp. And despite him not having the best defensive stats in the world, he's still making around 1.6 clearances per game, 1 aerials, 1 per game, 1.2 blocks, 1.6 interceptions per game, which is very high, and 2 tackles, which is still a very clean number considering Arsenal don't really lose the ball very often. Overall, Declan Rice makes every single setup work in midfield. He can play any role you ask of him and has really excelled in 8 and a 6 this season. He is really the future of Arsenal, and you pair him up with anyone, it will make them look better. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate your view as always today. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'd recommend watching my video yesterday where I go through the nitty gritty of Arsenal's 2 systems, 3 systems that they use to make them unstoppable. I appreciate you as always. Thank you for watching.